Welcome to Ladies of Another View. I'm here today again with Mary, and I'm
Yay.
Patty. We have a lot of fun when we do the show together.
We do.
We
I
need
really
to do
miss
it more
seeing you.
often.
We used to do this all the time. Like she was the lead host, I'd be down on the end, and we'd have the two co-hosts in the middle. And now, well, now we do it this way.
Every once in a while it works out. And yeah, we're going on 6 years with our show coming up, if you can believe that.
I know, and best of the best 5 years in a row for BEK TV. How about that?
Only because of our audience. We couldn't do it without you guys.
Exactly.
We wouldn't be here without you guys.
Exactly.
Anyways, we're I got to tell you what's coming up. Later on in the show, Ken Silva he's the author of The Trump Assassination and What We Don't Know, What We Should Know, and Why It Matters. And for the lighter side, we're going to talk about laughing really is the best medicine. We all like to laugh, and there's a good reason for it. But first, one of my favorite guests, Craig Rucker, who is the founder and president of CFACT. Welcome to the show, Craig.
Well, thanks for having me on, Patty. Hey, you know what? This is one of my favorite hosts that I could ever have, and good to meet you as well, Mary.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that. And we
You're so
understand
kind.
that you were just on with Trent, and well, we'll forgive you for that, but it's still in the BEK network, so we're okay with it.
Funny thing, we just had Trent on, the two of us. We did an hour-long show with him. So we do love Trent.
Well, we did too. I actually shared a stage with him. We were protesting against wind farms in Wyoming, so got a chance to get to know him pretty good, and great guy. So really fun to be on his program as well.
We love him, but don't tell him we said that, okay? And CFACT, I want everyone to know it's Committee for a Constructive Tomorrow. And you really care about the environment, but you like the free market and not government to come in and force things. And you rely on science, not controlling government entities that have agendas. And so I want to talk about you. You went recently to one of these crazy waste of time meetings about the climate, right? UN climate bureaucrats hold another useless meeting. And I love, you don't mince words. And Mary, Craig is so funny. He goes to these places that are full of all the people pushing green stuff and the scams. And he speaks up. I'm sure you just absolutely drive them crazy when you're there because you're speaking science and the truth against what they're trying to sell, right?
Yes, and in fact, from time to time we get kicked out of these conferences for voicing our opinion, but we always seem to get back in. In this particular case, though, this was done virtually because they had tight schedules and everything to be able to get there. It's all taking place, and this took place in early June. The one in Bonn, Germany, to which you reference, is a prep meeting for a main conference that's coming up in Turkey at the end of the year. And I'll be at that one in person. But this one we followed from afar because we're, of course, party to a lot of these UN gatherings. And people always say, hey, you're on the conservative side. Why are you going? Well, somebody has to be a watchdog because a lot of the stuff that comes downhill to America starts in the international level. So anyway, we were there. And the UN is, beside itself. They've been in complete distress ever since Trump got elected again. And Trump, of course, has pulled us out of the Paris Accord, but he did more than that. He actually got us out of the original 1992 UN Convention on Climate Change, which means that if, in fact, there's another attempt to get back in the UN Paris Accord, you'd also have to get us in to the original treaty, which would mean 2/3 Senate vote, which will be quite an obstacle for, heaven forbid, if there's a President Gavin Newsom. And so anyway, they were meeting there, and they got they've been beside themselves, and had a number of things that they want to see implemented, and are going to try to implement even absent the U.S.
It's just absolutely insane when you think about all of the people that believe all of the stuff regarding the climate change. Now, I guess you can go to Plymouth Rock, where they landed way back in the 1400s or whatnot, and the sea levels haven't risen, and they had predicted that the sea levels are going to rise, and it's like we're all going to be flooded. And it's like they don't understand that this whole ecosystem is millions and millions of years old, and we're just like a second, just a blip on the screen. And it's just so, and then I can fast forward over to how the U.S., we are a very clean country. We do everything by the book, but then you have countries like China who just have no regulations, but yet we're the ones expected to foot the bill for all of this stuff. And I just, sometimes I get tired of talking about it, but I know we need to continue to talk about it.
Oh, it's become more and more relevant with the rise of the democratic socialists here in America, because one of their platforms, if you go on their website, I know Mark Levin was making a big point of this on his broadcast not long back, is that they have the Green New Deal in there, as that's one of the failings of capitalism. And the UN, for its purposes, thinks that the United States is the environmental villain of the world when, as you mentioned, Mary, we have the cleanest air, the cleanest water. Our resuscitation of species that were once endangered is growing back. It's almost like, what planet are they living on? And to tout an economic system that mimics, communist China or the former Soviet Union, which have horrible environmental records, and yet they hear no evil, see no evil when it comes to these countries. It's always the United States that they put as the boogeyman.
So I just want to make one correction. You said the Democrat socialists. Well, we had a guest on, and he said they're not a Democrat socialist. They are flat out socialists, and we need to stop calling them democratic socialists because they are just socialists, which is one step away from being a communist. We can't give them that much credit. I have some Democrat
I
friends.
think some of those, I think some of those Eastern European countries, when I grew up, the Soviet Union was, of course, somebody that we competed against until Ronald Reagan kind of took them on. But a lot of those Eastern European countries called themselves democratic socialists, and they weren't even like just socialists. They were communist.
Yes.
And for the most part, I think that that's what we're seeing come up, and it's almost bizarre that we're seeing this. But, the young people haven't been taught. We did a conference, one of these UN things back in Poland, early part of the 2000s, and the people, having just been liberated from communism, came to our speeches. They were eagerly enthusiastic. In fact, we had an opportunity to talk before one of their big parades of 50,000 people during their Independence Day, and they put us on national television, covered us in their newspaper. They thought everything we said was consistent with kind of what Ronald Reagan would say, and I guess fairly consistent with what Trump would say. And we came back about 12 years later. This goes pushing around 2020, just before the COVID thing. And it was remarkable. All the older folks totally understood the evils of communism and embraced the message we had very, clearly. But the younger people had had a chance to be brainwashed by the EU, and they were skeptical. They had bought into a lot of the lies about what the communists have sold before. So I mean, it's a powerful thing when you see Mandami coming up and you see these other people. When you're promised free stuff and there's no cost to it, and you can get it from other people, that's the way they operate. And that's the way the UN operated at this German conference. They want to see, what is it, 35% electrification by the year 2035. They want all the building codes to be changed. Sounds easy, but the problem is that the way they want to get us there, using solar and wind and government efforts and attacking the industries that actually provide jobs and energy and everything else, it's very much to the left.
Well, these European countries they're learning this, but they don't seem to be coming. They haven't accepted that it's not working, that the price of energy is going up and up. They can't really afford it, and they're still blaming the United States. They're trying to make us the scapegoat, and then, like you said, ignoring these third world countries in China who pollute the environment, and they don't say anything about them. They turn a blind eye, but then they have this agenda for us and developed countries. There's such a disconnect. But there were 7,000 people that attended this last meeting. Is there any kind of reality breaking through that you're seeing?
Yes, as a matter of fact, right after that conference took place, CFACT helped co-sponsor, along with the Heartland Institute, and a group called the IKE in Europe, European Institute for Climate and Energy, or something of that sort. We sponsored one which had a boatload of very reputable scientists, both from Europe and the United States. And there is a rising movement in a lot of these countries. You have the Reform Party in the UK. You have also in Germany, the ADF is what they're called, or AFD. I keep getting those acronyms mixed up. But and they are interested in our side of the spectrum. In fact, this seminar that CFAC helped co-sponsor was attended by a number of Trump administration scientists, people like Will
So,
Happer,
Craig,
David Lee Gates,
I'm
John
going to
Clauser.
interrupt you, Craig,
Go ahead.
because I want to do a whole segment on what you're just talking about right now. I'm
Oh,
so
okay.
excited about, and I even wrote down some of the esteemed speakers and scientists. So we're going to take a break, and then you're going to tell us about the conference where the sensible scientists and speakers were at. So don't go away.
Find your path to discovery, adventure, and inspiration in Lemon, South Dakota. Immerse yourself in the charm and beauty of the region's natural resources. Unearth eras of history. Explore the unique attractions and world-renowned creations. Come see for yourself what makes this community a great getaway and an even greater place to make your home. Whether you're here for a day or for a lifetime, you can find your path in Lemon, South Dakota.
There's never been a better time to rediscover the style, reliability, and all-season, all-terrain fun of the all-new Nissan lineup at the new and improved Ryan Nissan. Whether it's the sleek and stylish Murano, the adventure-ready Pathfinder, or the reimagined, ready-for-anything 2026 Rogue, the all-new Ryan Nissan has the vehicle of your dreams at a price perfect for any budget. It's time to rediscover your passion for the road. It's time to rediscover the all-new Ryan Nissan, engineered to endure.
Yeah, U.S. Cattlemen is a member organization that each member has a vote in anything we do with policy. We're representing the independent cattleman or the cow-calf guy or an independent feeder or whatever. We like to support the independent producer. Talking about mandatory ID, we're talking about cool, we're talking about all the legislation that's going to be coming down with the new administration. There's going to be lots of moving and shaking, so always check us out at our website, uscattleman.org.
Come on in and experience small town hospitality and the personalized care that makes car buying a pleasure.
We know that every journey starts with the right car. Whether it's school drop-off, weekend road trips, or your daily commute, we have the right vehicle for you and your family.
With trusted brands, affordable prices, and a team that treats you like family, finding your next car has never been so easy.
We pride ourselves on personal attention and quality service. Set Motors, where our customers send their friends.
When I first decided to invest in gold, I was a bit nervous and unsure how to start. Luckily, I found Noble Gold Investments. From the very first call, they made investing easy. No pushy sales tactics, no gimmicks, and no confusing free silver offers with hidden fees. Just honest advice tailored to my needs, giving me confidence every step of the way. If you're new to gold investing or want a partner you can trust, visit noblegoldinvestments.com.
Welcome to where classy meets Wild West. Buffalo Gypsy Boutique of Bismarck has clothing, decor, and gifts ranging from sophisticated boho style to fun and flashy. Our exclusive brands such as Scully, Double D Ranch, and Tanner Mark provide standout style for the whole family, right down to the little ones. We always have a great selection of Kimes denim, and we proudly offer American-made jewelry and artwork. Find Buffalo Gypsy classing up North Bismarck just off Highway 83.
Welcome back to Craig Rucker to the show. I'm always glad to have you. He's the founder and president of CFAC, Committee for a Constructive Tomorrow. And we were talking before the break about the IKE event. And I looked at the host of speakers, my goodness, renowned geophysicists and some of the leading scientists in the world. And you're holding these events, speaking the truth, we've been listening to those people from the beginning. Mm-hmm. This whole climate hoax, it just hasn't come to fruition. You know, Al Gore made predictions, they never came about. They were all based on lies, not based on science, but based on politics and scamming. So what are you seeing? You have the leading people, the leading scientists speaking the truth. Is this changing things? Are people starting to listen? Are people dropping out of the climate scam hoax? Give us a reflection.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of room for encouragement, and I'd say there's a few things forcing this. One is, yes, I think the science is suspect. There was a big turnaround earlier this year when basically the Green Left acknowledged that one of their climate scenarios, it has a complicated name, RCP 8.5. But basically, a lot of our policy under the Biden administration and other international agreements were driven by this very aggressive claim that the world's going to heat up by several degrees by the end of 2100 or by 2100. And now they've said that, no, this was all false, and they chucked it. You know, we had also Bill Gates saying that the world isn't going to end from climate change, Bezos taking a step back. These are positive signs, leave alone that the United States under Donald Trump has gotten out of the endangerment finding. They've rolled back the electric vehicle mandate. They actually put forward a climate assessment report of sort that was done by some sound scientists. So I think all this is a retreat, and that the UN can't seem to get its act together to phase out fossil fuels or do anything, which we mentioned in the last meeting, other than make broad proclamations of what they hope they can get done. So these are positives. Our conference that took place in Leipzig, Germany, which is the one you just mentioned, did have feature a bunch of scientists. One of the good things that came out of that was some of the political parties, like the Reform Party in the UK and, of course, the AfD in Germany. We were invited to speak there. Coming up in November. They were duly impressed with this, so I'm going to get a chance to go to the Bundestag, which is their Congress in Germany, and deliver a message, probably mostly but for the more conservative members of that. But nevertheless, it is starting to make its way, and that would never have been thought possible just a few years ago. So there is reason for optimism. And I think we're headed the right way on a whole host of issues. Public opinion is also in our favor. You would have looked a few years ago and you would have saw by a marked increase in the number of people that were really buying into what the Al Gores and Greta Thunbergs and United Nations was saying on climate change. Well, that's declined. And as a voter priority, it's not even a top 10 issue now among U.S. voters. So that's encouraging.
Well, I can't believe, to start with Greta Thunberg, she was like 12 years old at the time, and we're supposed to take our advice from a child who hasn't even reached puberty yet. And we were basing our decisions on her. I still don't get it.
That was their poster child there because of her passion. No scientific. That's what it's all about. It's all about emotion, not about facts or science. And they lost Bill Gates. Bill Gates is into these big data centers now, and he's kind of stepped away from the whole climate change stuff.
That is amazing. Maybe you could address that too. It's like because of all of these data centers that they're pushing across the nation, they're using water, they're using electricity. We're going to have to use coal-powered electricity. We know that wind and solar can't keep up with it because North Dakota had to ship energy down to Texas when they had an ice storm because they had no energy. And so Bill Gates, I mean, do you want to touch on that at all?
A little bit, but I said that from our perspective, and it's one of these issues you can't win in, because on the one hand, I agree with President Trump. I think data centers are important, and that's part of the reason the Chinese are terrified of them and funding a lot of the opposition. And we got that information to try to stop them from occurring in this country, because it has a lot of benefits, and those in agriculture and everything. If you have AI, you can actually lessen the amount of pesticides and chemicals and put them more directly on the plants. You can also take care of water supply and irrigation and all these. I mean, it has so many applications that are beneficial to the economy. On the other hand, they're not, I can honestly say I wouldn't want one in my backyard for that purpose. As far as the electricity goes and what Bill Gates is making noise about, it's true. What happens is that societies that have invested heavily in renewable energy have seen their electricity rates spike, but that's not so much because of data centers as it is the type of electricity that they chose to go with and rely on. They have these renewable energy portfolios, and yes, you can't put any heavy industry in there. You're going to have to import your electricity from elsewhere. However, in red states, where they've put in the data centers, and we noticed this in Texas and a good report done by the Institute for Energy Research showed that data centers not only didn't increase electricity rates in the red states, but their rates of increase are lower than average, and in some cases have even declined. So, and this is probably explained because a lot of data centers bring their own electricity. So, from CFAC's perspective, I think it's a local matter. I can totally get why people might not want one in their backyard. But on the other hand, if they're zoned correctly, I think that, they're an important feature for the economy moving forward. So,
And I think that's the key, if they're zoned correctly. And that's what we had a couple gals on here this past week, and it's all about ordinances and zoning. And as long as you get that straight and make sure that they have everything lined up moving forward, rather than getting all the permits, starting the building, and all of a sudden now we worry about zoning and whatnot. And that seems to be what was going on in North Dakota, but that's slowing down, I think.
And where you want to put them, and there's just a lot of different considerations. And I just
you've got to take care of the water issue, because it can stress water supplies. And I'm encouraged to hear some of the developers of this trying to use no water and be able to try and keep their factory clean or cool using other things. But if they're going to not use water and drain the water supply, they're going to need even more electricity because they'll have to do some sort of cooling system, which again does not mean that they're going to do very well in places like California, New York, and other places that have not invested in their energy infrastructure and are not equipped to be able to handle these things. So that's why Europe isn't actually moving on data centers very much. They don't have the capacity to do it. But China probably will, because they're, despite all the rhetoric, they're investing heavy in coal and natural gas and real power supplies, and they want to be a competitor, and they realize how important this is to, energy security and being the #1 country in the world.
And I only mentioned Bill Gates because he took a big step away from all these fear-mongering with the climate scare, and he's like, okay, never mind. Never mind. I guess this isn't a problem after all. And he seemed like he got a free pass. I don't know. I don't listen to the Bill Gates followers to see if they were disappointed in him. But you've been involved in environmentalist movements like with the whales, the right whales, and the wind farms on the ocean, and you talk about solar panels and wind energy. They don't have any kind of recycling plan, and they're not good for the environment. And so I'm wondering if you've gotten maybe some people that really did care about the environment and just weren't, talking the party line. If those people are coming a little bit more to your side, realizing that this isn't good for the planet.
And we only have about a minute left, so sorry.
Yeah, no, I think they are. We're getting a lot of people that are actually on the left, people that are from are more prone to vote Democrat or on the left. People, Native American populations, for example, have been on our side. A lot of people that are Save the Whales type people. We used to call them granola crunchers. They're coming out on our side. And so I would say that that's been increasing quite a bit. So there's reason to be encouraged there as well, because, green energy isn't green. It actually kills birds. It kills, harms whales, and takes up a lot of habitat. I mean, some of these wind farms can go 600 square miles or 450 square miles, like in the case of Wyoming's so-called wind wall. So yes, I think that this is something that'll target them back. I know they're coming out against data centers, but there aren't too many dead birds or whales caused by data centers, and the environmental footprint on terms
Well,
of
not
land
yet, but once they start building them undersea, that's for
then
another day.
that may be the case. Maybe we need to do what Elon Musk says and put them in outer space.
We just need to keep in touch with Craig, because CFACT is at the forefront. By the way, cfact.org, if you want to know more about what Craig does and the kind of work. And thank you for joining us once again. I know hopefully we'll talk to you again soon.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on. Always a pleasure.
And next segment, we're going to talk with Ken Silver, who wrote a book about the Trump assassination, what we don't know and what we should know. So don't go away.
Stop out to our facility, Highway 22 South. Let us build a truck for you.
When there's a storm on the horizon, you typically don't get a lot of advance notice. So you brace yourself as best you can and rebuild when it's over. Times like these are what insurance is for, the protection of our livelihoods, our families, our homes, and our lives. We support our community coming together in times of need. As an independent insurance agency, we tailor our services to your needs. At Dakota Community Insurance, we can help you weather the storm. Talk to one of our agents today.
We are the St. Mary Sisters. We are building a new facility here in Bismarck, North Dakota, for the sake of training young women to be courageous teachers in this state. The sisters will educate the younger generation to be fully alive through truth and discipline. The sisters' life of devotion and joy will make a positive difference in your community. Check out what we're up to, see what's going on, and join our mission to make a difference in the lives of the children of North Dakota.
Let's be frank, it's a pain to be without your vehicle after an accident. That's why you should take it to Jerome's Collision Center. Our shop is supersized and we have the qualified staff to fill it up and work on your vehicle, step by step, piece by piece, in crazy fast time without sacrificing quality. When you need us, we'll turn your bad experience into a good one. We're Jerome's Collision Center and we're the best at what we do.
Hey, I'm Corey Heppola, and I grew up in a small town.
This road used to be gravel.
But a long time ago, I left to live in a big city. Now, I wonder...
Just because we're small doesn't mean we can't have nice things.
What would it be like to move back?
Man, it's mad love up in here.
So, I'm traveling to different small towns across the Midwest to find out. Because what do I really know about rural living?
Oh.
The people.
If there is anything that you can say about this town, it's that we take care of each other.
The innovation.
So none of this equipment even existed.
And the opportunities.
It's like every year in the spring, there's always like a revitalization of just excitement.
This is my town.
Oh, jeez. You're close.
7 episodes. Sunday night, 6:30 on BEK TV.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View, and I want to welcome back our guest, Ken Silva. He's the author of The Trump Assassination Plots, What the Investigation Missed and Why It Matters. Welcome back to the show, Ken.
Well, thanks for having me back, and yeah, it sure is a timely discussion, so I appreciate it.
Well, this week is 2 years ago this week that the assassination attempt at Butler, Pennsylvania was made. And you also talk about in your book, though, the assassination attempt at the golf course in Florida. Very, very suspicious. I know we talked about last time, like I don't remember that guy's name, but how did he even know where to go and that Trump was going to be there? Because only the Secret Service should have known that. But let's get back to Butler, Pennsylvania, since it's a 2-year anniversary when he was on the campaign trail. Mm-hmm. And you have compiled such an amazing book, going through all the records, putting it into a very easy to read and fascinating narrative. And what I find very disturbing are the missing pieces and the fact that some people changed their original testimony. That's very suspicious. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, my pleasure. So you're kind of hitting on what I argue is the biggest scandal of the entire day of July 13th, 2024, which I kind of talked about it on your last show, is the fact that the Secret Service sniper who shot the would-be assassin Thomas Crooks, that shot came at 15 entire seconds after the assassin fired at Trump. In fact, it was a local cop on the ground who shot Crooks first, and that kind of disabled him in the first couple seconds. And then it's like a whole nother 10, 12 seconds before the Secret Service sniper finally springs into action, which you could say, that's awfully bad. That seems like a really long time. If I stopped talking right now for 15 seconds, it would get pretty awkward. But maybe, it took a while to zero in his scope, or there was some other reason for the delay. But it's even more troubling that he has contradictory testimony. He was initially asked about his response time by Congress, a House task force, and he said, well, the reason it took so long is because I didn't even see Crooks until Crooks had stopped firing. That's when I got him in my scope and returned fire. But later, a congressional investigator obtained the sniper's own notes that he wrote down immediately after the incident, which say that he saw Crooks crawling into place with an AR rifle before the shooting even started. So the sniper insists that those notes that he took right after the shooting are inaccurate, and it's his memory when he was testifying a few months later that was the true story. But there's a glaring contradiction there. If you want to get conspiratorial about it, you got to ask, was he given an order to stand down and actually let the kid get off a shot? Maybe we don't want to go there, but either way, he's lying. Maybe he just wants to cover his behind because Trump thinks he's a hero and he doesn't want to admit that it took so long for him to respond. But any way you slice it, it's a major issue that people aren't really focusing on.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. There's so much, and there's so many stories out there. Some people think the whole thing was a conspiracy and that he wasn't actually shot. And I'm just going to address when he was shot and it nicked him in the ear, the people around there, nobody started running, nobody bent down. It just seemed like everyone was just kind of looking around. That was kind of odd too, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think those are the major points outside of Trump's silence, which has led people to speculate, well, is he being so quiet about it because he doesn't want to draw attention to it because it was staged or he was in on it? As far as getting shot in the ear, that is arguably the luckiest place to be shot, just grazed in the ear. But keep in mind, if a bullet grazes the skin of your ear without actually cutting through cartilage, that's going to produce an awful lot of blood, and it's going to heal relatively fast.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've got a photograph from the New York Times, Doug Mills, that won the Pulitzer Prize, of the second shot winging right by his shoulder. So unless you want to argue that the New York Times is conspiring with Trump, which really doesn't make much sense, we know the bullets are real. As far as the crowd, and yeah, the people behind him were a little confused. I think they didn't know what's going on. But we have other camera footage from the two bleachers to his left and right, and that's where people actually were shot. Corey Comparatori was murdered. On the opposite side, there were two other people who were grievously wounded, James Copenhaver and David Dutch. And those cameras show people were screaming, freaking out. There was blood everywhere. It was absolute chaos.
Sure.
You mentioned too, speaking about this, him not getting whisked away right away is not protocol. Now, he came up and he said, fight, 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 and that was a big rallying call for, Republicans, the Trump supporters. But that was not the protocol. Normally, they would just grab him and get him out of there. Like, how do you make sense out of that?
Well, that was an egregious violation. I just chalk it off to institutional incompetence. I mean, these were a lot of, you might call them the third stringers if we're using a sports analogy. Keep in mind, Jill Biden, the first lady at the time, was having an event in Pittsburgh. A lot of resources were diverted there from Butler. Trump wasn't getting the best of the best. In fact, I kind of laugh about it because there was one of the agents I found out was this former University of Pittsburgh offensive tackle, but he wasn't one of the actual bodyguards, that piled onto him. That guy was like doing intelligence work in a tent. Instead, they had like several diminutive women that were trying to keep him down. And yeah, they let him up, and it could have been catastrophic. If there was another shooter, that would have been the exact time where maybe they finished the job.
How sad. And I was in Wisconsin right after that for the Republican convention, and so I was within just a few feet of President Trump at the time, and you saw the Band-Aid and everything. I just don't understand. I'm almost tongue-tied in a sense because there's so much out there that people are saying, no, it didn't happen. Yes, it did happen. And it's great to have a book like yours that puts all the facts together so it's easily read and people can understand it basically in layman's terms as to why it did happen, how it happened, and what we're dealing with now.
Well, I appreciate that. And yeah, chapter 1's kind of an action scene of what happened that day from that morning through the shooting and into the night. And really, when you read through the congressional testimony that matches with the body cam footage, cell phone footage, and radio communications, you know that the local cops were really chasing this guy, even though the Secret Service was totally ignoring it, inexplicably, which I find highly suspicious. If a few different decisions were made by the local cops, they might have actually caught this kid and it would have been a non-event. There was a cop who pulled himself up on the roof and saw Thomas. Thomas pointed his gun at the cop, then the cop drops down. 20 seconds later, the shooting started. And so all of these things really tell me that it was an authentic event. One of my favorite and most underrated pieces of evidence is that after the shooting, Trump was kind of shuffled off the stage, as we just discussed. And in the chaos, his personal physician was left behind. And so he goes to the Butler Hospital, and it's actually local doctors who examine his ear. And in fact, they took one of the local doctors with them on Trump Force One to the next stop, which was New Jersey. So I would imagine that if this was staged, he would have kept his personal physician right next to him. They would have gone to the hospital, said, no, you can't look at his ear because it's national security. And that would have been that. But in fact, they did let even the local doctors look at the ear, which I think is another strong indication that this was, it is what it looked like on the camera.
Sure.
You know, I had interviewed the priest, Father Jason Sharon, who did the invocation that day moments before he was shot, and he was walking away and he heard the shots. And absolutely, he thinks it was divine intervention to get that close to the head. And instead, it was used as, you know, the Democrats didn't, the left media didn't really want to report on it because it made him into a hero. Just to see him getting up right there and holding up his fist while his ear is bleeding after he just had an attempt on his life. We're going to talk more about your book on the assassination attempt and what's missing from the investigation when we come back.
You know the rule. No phones at the dinner table.
I know, I'm sorry. It's just Noble Gold Investments. I bought some gold for the kids.
Finally.
Well, the gold you bought me gives me so much security in this economic disaster we're having. I want that for them too.
Well, I've been investing with Noble Gold Investments for years, and I'm pretty sure they can wait until after lunch.
Invest in something you can hold. Invest in Noble Gold. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com to learn more.
West River Equipment of Mandan is here to help you maintain peak productivity in your operation. As an authorized dealer for many high-quality equipment lines, we have the new and used equipment it takes to make your farming, ranching, or construction operation profitable and efficient. West River Equipment also has the parts on hand and the experienced technicians in our shop to get your equipment back in action fast. Find what you need at West River Equipment on Old Red Trail in Mandan.
Find relief for what ails you at Steep Me Tea Apothecary. Teas, supplements, tinctures, and more. Formulated to fight whatever has you down. We're Bismarck Mandan's favorite place to find delicious, natural, and easy ways to alleviate symptoms brought on by anything from colds to cancer. Brew a better you at Steep Me Tea Apothecary. Steep Me products may cause side effects, including but not limited to improved mood, deeper sleep, enhanced hydration, renewed sense of smell, increased energy levels, superior balance, boosted immunity, proper digestion, restored sense of calm, and a delightful smelling home.
Welcome to Radiant Retreat Tanning and Spa in Mandan, where a relaxing spa experience meets the latest in healing innovations. Take total control of your massage in our Hydro Massage Bed. Experience whole body healing in our Zero Body Cryo Bed. Let our salt sauna and halo generator restore your respiratory and skin health. And of course, tailored tanning will keep you looking as good as you feel. Discover your best self at Radiant Retreat, 1307 1st Street Northeast, Mandan.
We're from North Dakota, where 12,000 workers bring electricity to 2 million customers and provide over $5 billion in economic activity to the state, while reclaiming 22,000 acres of land. This is coal country.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View, and I want to welcome back our guest, the author Ken Silva, who authored The Trump Assassination Plots, What the Investigation Missed and Why It Matters. Welcome back, Ken, and I have thought all along, somebody put this guy, Thomas Cooks, up to this. How did he get in there, sitting on the roof? A lot of people said it was in plain view. He's able to shoot at Trump, and then he gets shot. A little late, but then he gets shot. And the fact that you include in your chapter 6 another assassination plot that also happened, or attempt, I should say, at the Florida golf course. How did that guy get inside? How did he know Trump was playing golf? That makes you think. That kind of gives credence to my theory, and I'm not alone, I know, that somebody set Thomas Cooks up and they made it possible, hoping that he was going to kill Trump, but it's an inside job on some level. Do you want to talk about that?
Absolutely, yeah. I think you're probably onto something. We don't know exactly what was going on with Thomas's life. We were talking on the break about how the FBI has 75,000 pages of records on Thomas, and they've only disclosed about 300. So we really could only speculate. But if you look at other examples, there's actually a case. It's actually not the Palm Beach case. It's one that most people don't know about. It didn't make much national news. Really gruesome and disgusting, but it shines light of what might have been going on with Thomas. And that's the case of Nikita Kasep in Wisconsin. He's a young man, 18 years old, arrested in February 2025 for actually gruesomely murdering his parents in a harebrained plot to assassinate Trump. And what happened there is he was actually talking to 2 Ukrainians online who somehow convinced this kid to murder your parents, steal all their money, give us some of that money, and we'll send you coordinates to a safe house where you can have a drone and other equipment to finish the job on Trump. Then we'll blame Russia and start World War III. If it sounds insane, it is. But this kid was arrested several weeks later after they found his parents dead in his house. And it turned out that these Ukrainians actually scammed the kid. They got him to kill his parents, steal a bunch of money, and wire it to them. And then they gave him phony coordinates to the safe house, which in fact never existed. And this kid was online in these dark chat rooms that glorify school shootings, mass shootings, other acts of terrorism. And I think Thomas might have been into something similar. Like the way I describe it is only 0.01% of the population is into those kind of dark topics, but they all congregate online in the same chat rooms, which A, it normalizes their behavior. They're talking to 20 other people that are just like them, but B, it puts them all in one location for predators, whether it's like foreign state actors or even undercover provocateurs, to manipulate these kids.
I think the same thing goes for a lot of those school shootings.
Yes.
You can just see it in their eyes when they have the shots of these people. It's like, or the mug shots, it's like their eyes, they always have that crazy look in them. And I think they can be manipulated very easily to do what they will. And I don't know that we'll ever find out who's behind each and every plot.
And it's a lesson for parents to keep your kids off the internet, or at least closely monitor what they're doing. Because yeah, it sounds almost like I have a hard time convincing certain people that this really is a culture on the internet, like chat rooms that glorify school shootings. It just sounds so sick that most people want to ignore it. But teenagers are finding their way onto these chat rooms, and we as a society need to be more aware of this.
So the guy that was arrested in Palm Beach on the golf course who wanted to assassinate Trump, he was in a place that was known to the paparazzi, right? And so how did he know about this spot? How did he know Trump was at the golf course? And this was not that long after the Butler, Pennsylvania attempt. And so clearly, and he was known to the government, right?
He was known to the government. Yeah, this is Ryan Ruth. September 15th, he was hiding in the bushes while Trump was golfing. The Secret Service spotted him and actually fired at him 5 times. He ran away, but was caught about 45 minutes later. And as you mentioned, the question is, how did he know that was the spot that could have gotten a clear shot at Trump? Apparently, photographers used that location frequently, but he's not from the area. And he has also been camping out there for about 11 hours in advance. And yes, he was known to the government because he went to Ukraine in 2022 when Putin invaded, and he actually joined like the CIA and the US's warfighting efforts there. He was recruiting veterans from Afghanistan and Syria, like radical jihadists, to come to Ukraine and fight against Russia. And this got him reported to the FBI, the CIA, Interpol, DHS. The State Department even opened an investigation into him. And this investigation was open as of his assassination attempt in 2024. So it really raises grave questions about how a multiple-time felon who was on the radar of like 7 different agencies, how is he able to operate with impunity and again nearly get a shot off Trump?
Well, the crazy thing is Trump had made his golf plans at 2:00 a.m. and that was at the last minute. And then around Ruth had arrived at the golf course at 2:30 a.m. So within 30 minutes of Trump making the arrangements, the assassin was already there within 30 minutes.
Yeah, and he had been camping out at a nearby truck stop and kind of surveilling the whole area in the weeks in advance. At one time, he goes to the airport. We see in court records that he had a clear view of where Trump usually parks his plane, so it's thought he might have tried to get a shot off there, if not for this golf course location. But the timing of those two events certainly raised grave questions. Yeah, Trump makes his golf course plans, the Secret Service learns about it, and then Ruth shows up there. It's really bizarre. I guess, you know, just to throw this in there since it's topical, not suggesting anything, but Senator Lindsey Graham was supposed to golf with Trump that morning, and I guess he canceled at the last minute. So I guess he would have put in danger too.
Wow.
So yeah.
Well, and since you bring that up, I'm just going to throw this out there. Kash Patel had mentioned that they're going to give the FBI is going to give all their available resources to the Lindsey Graham investigation. And it's like, why is the FBI getting involved on his death? And I know he got sick rather quickly and then passed away. Is there any funny business going on there that you need to write a book about?
Well, I have no special insight. I guess we'll wait and see. Yeah, that was a very bizarre comment made by Kash Patel. But, you know, it seems like any sudden death like this leads to conspiracy theories. I mean, when Hulk Hogan died about a year ago, surprisingly, there were theories that was some kind of like murder. So I would imagine it's just the internet being the internet, but I guess we'll wait and see.
Sure.
We don't really know. How curious is Trump? Like, why aren't these answers coming forth? Why does the Ryan Ruth case has so much suspicion? And how deep are they digging into this? Are they connecting the dots and saying this doesn't make sense? Or is there like a wall of ignorance of like, we're not going to look there, we're not going there?
Well, yeah, the investigation is closed, and it was closed last year. And actually, Tucker Carlson recently said that Trump himself closed down the investigation. And then Dan Bongino, the former FBI deputy director, who's now doing podcasts again. He was very upset at Tucker for saying that. He said, no, Tucker's a liar. And in fact, we did investigate this. Crooks and Ruth acted alone. There's nothing else to see here. And Trump didn't close the investigation. He's just satisfied with our findings. So I went back and looked at the timeline of events. And it turns out that Dan Bongino took office March 17th, 2025. And it was like 10 days later that Trump tells a reporter, I've been briefed, and they tell me that the shooters acted alone, and I guess I'll accept that. So that tells me that Bongino didn't even investigate this himself. It's almost like he takes office, immediately Trump gets briefed, and they must have been relying on the previous FBI's findings.
Wow.
Trump did kind of flip-flop over the next month. At one point, he did ask some questions, but he's been pretty silent for almost over a year. Why that is, again, we could only speculate.
Well, a lot of unanswered questions, that's for sure. The Trump assassination plots, what the investigation missed, and why it matters. I highly recommend this book. It's just a fascinating read. Thank you, Ken, for being back on again. And yeah, we want to keep in touch. I'm sure you're going to continue to look into this and let us know what's up.
Absolutely. I really appreciate your interest in this.
Thank you.
When we come back, we're going to talk about that laughter is the best medicine, and science proves it, so don't go away.
There's never been a better time to rediscover the style, reliability, and all-season, all-terrain fun of the all-new Nissan lineup at the new and improved Ryan Nissan. Whether it's the sleek and stylish Murano, the adventure-ready Pathfinder, or the reimagined, ready-for-anything 2026 Rogue, the all-new Ryan Nissan has the vehicle of your dreams at a price perfect for any budget. It's time to rediscover your passion for the road. It's time to rediscover the all-new Ryan Nissan, engineered to endure.
Are you dealing with arthritis, nerve and back pain, dry skin, or superficial wounds, but found no relief? Give Stewart's Natural Health a try. For over 4 decades, Stewart's Natural Health has been helping people and animals with herbal and natural oil lotions, ointments, and creams with a mission to help you relieve pain and feel your best using the power of nature. Discover the safe, drug-free solution to your pain, guaranteed or your money back. Visit stewartsnatural.health today.
Welcome to Where Classy Meets Wild West. Buffalo Gypsy Boutique of Bismarck has clothing, decor, and gifts ranging from sophisticated boho style to fun and flashy. Our exclusive brands such as Scully, Double D Ranch, and Tanner Mark provide standout style for the whole family, right down to the little ones. We always have a great selection of Kimes denim, and we proudly offer American-made jewelry and artwork. Find Buffalo Gypsy classing up North Bismarck just off Highway 83.
West River Equipment of Mandan is here to help you maintain peak productivity in your operation. As an authorized dealer for many high-quality equipment lines, we have the new and used equipment it takes to make your farming, ranching, or construction operation profitable and efficient. West River Equipment also has the parts on hand and the experienced technicians in our shop to get your equipment back in action fast. Find what you need at West River Equipment on Old Red Trail in Mandan.
Welcome to Arrowhead Cleaners. Newly renovated, modernized, and ready to make your cleaning needs hassle-free. From commercial and residential wash and fold laundry services to the latest in professional dry cleaning techniques, we are dedicated to your unique needs, offering alterations, fabrications, and even custom hat making. So whether you're a busy professional, a family on the go, or even a rodeo champion, Arrowhead Cleaners is here to take your things from messed up to dressed up. Now celebrating our 64th year in Arrowhead Plaza.
Ashley, North Dakota is where life moves a little slower, but never gets dull. From hunting, camping, and fishing to safe streets where kids can be kids, this is the best of small town living. And Ashley offers everything you need, from healthcare to hardware to countless ways to stay active. Here, we've invested in our future with major upgrades to roads, parks, and education. Whether you're here for the day or here for life, you'll find Ashley's where you ought to be.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View, and laughter really is the best medicine. We knew that, though.
Truly is.
We knew that, but research actually proves it. So I came across Neil Shah. He's the CEO of Care Yaya. He really talks about elder care and trying to improve their conditions. And he's, he talked about some Johns Hopkins research and shows us how the science backs that laughter is good medicine.
A real belly laugh floods your brain with natural painkillers, the same chemistry behind a runner's high. There's no pill, and scientists have actually watched it happen in brain scans. Your body makes its own feel-good painkillers called endorphins. When you laugh really hard, your brain releases them, and they act on the very same receptors that pain medications target, except this is the version that your body makes itself, and there's no downside. Researchers in Finland confirmed it with brain imaging scans. Social laughter triggered a measurable release of these natural chemicals. The more that people laughed, the more it flowed. If you know someone who could use this, send it to them now, and there's a catch coming that changes how you'd use it yourself. They then tested whether it actually does anything, and Oxford researchers ran 6 experiments in the lab and at live comedy shows, measuring how much pain people could handle before and after laughing. What was interesting was after a good laugh, pain tolerance jumped by roughly 10%. And the key part was that it wasn't just from being in a good mood. It was the laughing itself. Here's 3 things that make it fascinating. One, it's the physical act of laughing, not just the joke. The breathless, helpless, can't catch your breath kind of laughing is basically a full workout for your torso, and that exertion is what releases the endorphins. A polite chuckle won't do it. You really have to laugh. Two, it's contagious for a reason. Scientists think laughter evolved as a social glue. And if when a group laughs together, everyone's feel-good chemistry lights up at once, bonding you to the people that you're with. That's why laughing with someone else feels a lot better than laughing alone. Three, and this is the honest part, this lifts your pain threshold in the moment. It doesn't cure chronic pain, and the brain scan study was pretty small. So I think this isn't a replacement for actual pain medicine, but it's a free, side effect-free mood and bonding boost. I think laughter shows genuinely strong evidence. So the next time that life feels heavy, put on the thing that makes you laugh until you can't breathe, ideally with someone that you love. You're literally dosing your own brain. Laughter is really a kind of medicine. And turns out that neuroscience was, right all along. Follow along for the brain science that nobody explains and share this with someone who will make you laugh until it hurts.
That's cool. So I do have a very, very good friend. When we get together and start talking and we just laugh, I mean, the next day you will have a stomach ache because your muscles are so pulled, but we just feed off each other.
Yeah.
And it's like, and we can't stop. We just can't stop laughing. And
that's the kind of friend to have. And you feel good, don't you feel kind of a high afterwards after you've been laughing?
Yes,
Yeah.
there's nothing better. There really isn't.
Yeah, but it's amazing. I didn't know all the science behind it. Like really, you can study it and it's like a painkiller and mood lifter.
Well, I think just being positive all the way around, I think we had talked about that in our last show.
Yes.
Just optimism and laughter and joy just makes a person feel better and heal more quickly.
Right. So when you're optimistic and you're looking at the good things, you're more likely to laugh because you're full of joy.
There you go.
Yeah. So, well, anyways, we are just very grateful for you guys always. Thank you for once again making us the best of the best. And we'll be back again next time with Ladies of Another View on BEK.
Now go save our country and laugh with
Yes.
your friends and family.
Ashley, North Dakota is where life moves a little slower, but never gets dull. From hunting, camping, and fishing to safe streets where kids can be kids, this is the best of small town living. And Ashley offers everything you need, from healthcare to hardware to countless ways to stay active. Here, we've invested in our future with major upgrades to roads, parks, and education. Whether you're here for the day or here for life, you'll find Ashley's where you ought to be.
We are the St. Mary Sisters. We are building a new facility here in Bismarck, North Dakota, for the sake of training young women to be courageous teachers in this state. The sisters will educate the younger generation to be fully alive through truth and discipline. The sisters' life of devotion and joy will make a positive difference in your community. Check out what we're up to, see what's going on, and join our mission to make a difference in the lives of the children of North Dakota.
I'm Gary Emmett, host of Open Range. We've been at this for the past couple years. Representative Matt Heilman of Bismarck and former legislator Brandon Pritchard are going to do some regular segments on Open Range. While we cover a lot of politics, we're still going to be continuing doing mostly all things North Dakota. One exception, Friday evening, I'll be doing a new show on Open Range called On the Horn. This show will be long interviews of 3 to 5 hours with the people I'm interviewing. They'll be airing week after week on that Friday evening. So thank you for being a part of the BEK TV and Open Range family.
Come on in and experience small town hospitality and the personalized care that makes car buying a pleasure.
We know that every journey starts with the right car. Whether it's school drop-off, weekend road trips, or your daily commute, we have the right vehicle for you and your family.
With trusted brands, affordable prices, and the team that treats you like family, finding your next car has never been so easy.
We pride ourselves on personal attention and quality service. The Set Motors, where our customers send their friends.
Hey y'all, it's Trent on the loose. I want to tell you, Lady Blue and I, we got a lot of miles together, but you know what? You and I got a lot of miles together as well. And all I want to do is bring to you the information on how we maintain a domestic supply of food and fuel for future generations. So I'm going to continue to travel the world and unearth the stories that make it possible that we can live in a free United States of America.
I'm Corey Heppola, and a long time ago I left my small town for a big city. Now I wonder, what would it be like to move rural?
Just because we're small doesn't mean we can't have nice things.
This is my town.
Man, it's mad love up in here.
Sunday night, 6:30 on BEK TV.